Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to this week's SICW All-Star Wrestling. Recently, promoter Herb Simmons was able to sit down with KJFF Radio out of Herculaneum, Missouri, and talk all about SICW and about the great upcoming show September 18th when SICW goes to Herculaneum, Missouri to the AmVets Post 42 Hall. Let's take a moment to listen to how that all went when promoter Herb Simmons sat down with 1400 AM live on their radio.
It's the Newsmakers on 1400 KJFF. We're going to talk a little wrestling today on the program. Herb Simmons and Brian Whitaker are with us with SICW Wrestling. Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling? Is that it?
That's it. Been around for 53 years.
53 years. Holy cow. I bet you could tell some stories without a doubt. You've been in this for a long time.
A long time, and I tell everybody it just means I'm old.
Does it go back to the wrestling at the Chase days, or
yeah,
or close to that anyway?
I actually had the extreme honor of sitting underneath the learning tree of late great promoter Sam Muchnick and his protege, his ring announcer Larry Matisek, Mickey Garagiola. In fact, we have the TV library goes back. The oldest is about 1962, all the way up to about 1983 when Mr. Muchnick decided to call it quits.
Yeah, I interviewed Larry Matisek several years ago. It was a lot of fun. Boy, did he remembered a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Up until the day that he left us, his mind was as sharp as a tack. He knew these wrestlers. He knew their families. He knew how many children they had, knew where they were living. But the old body just wore out on him. And he introduced me, him and Sam, so many of the greats: Bruiser Brody, Dick Murdoch, Crusher Blackwell, Dick the Bruiser. And that's why I've been fortunate. That's why it says SICW is Wrestling at the Chase, because we have been carrying that tradition on. We started the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, and we keep that going. And wrestling has just been our passion for all these years now.
It's a lot different now than it was, back then when what they like to call it the territory days. Things have that era is long gone.
Well, and that's a lot of even the younger folks out there now don't realize the territories was there was about 32 different organizations then, but the good thing, and it was fortunate for me because Sam Muchnick actually controlled the NWA title at that time, and for a long time he was president of that organization off and on for 41 years. So he had to say so on where who and where the title was going to be defended at, and we called him the peacekeeper, because when you had promoters from two different territories that maybe had a dispute on what they wanted, Sam would sit them down and break bread with them and say, hey, this is what we're going to do, what's best for the business and what's best for the boys and girls,
So he was the one that put the title on people like Harley Race and Ric Flair, those guys that had it during that era.
Greatest of all time. In fact, we're going to be with Ric Flair this coming weekend out in Las Vegas. It's our 60th year anniversary of the what's called the Cauliflower Alley Club. And he'll be there along with Bret Hart and Mr. USA. Tony Atlas is getting the award out there. I'm actually taking him out there. But it's a great organizations that helps the men and women in the business that fell on hard times.
Mm. Yeah, and a few of them have, without a doubt. It's a tough racket, for sure.
Well, you got to remember back in the day, they were driving, they'd get in a car pull, and they'd drive 200-300 miles a night to the next show. They didn't have any 401ks, any investments, or it was basically on the road, away from your family, and you'd work about 300 days out of the year.
Mm. Luckily, it's not that grueling like it used to be. At least if you make it to the big time, anyway.
Yeah, you make it to the big time now. They fly you everywhere and pay you a good salary, where you can set your retirement. People like Randy Orton, his father runs our Ace Wrestling Academy, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. In fact, I had a hand in helping give Randy his first show at South Broadway Athletic Club when he first started. Now look at him. He's a major superstar. He's a legend himself right now.
Without a doubt.
He went from a legend killer to a legend.
Yeah, what was it they said? There's no more legends to kill anymore, Randy. I think that's what Cody Rhodes had said to him or something. One of the programs a couple of Fridays ago.
Yeah. Well, and Brian can tell you we've had the opportunity. We'll be with Jimmy Hart. He'll be in Las Vegas with us. He comes in all the time for us, and in fact, he comes in to help set up the chairs and helps set up the ring, and plus does radio interviews, whatever we need done. Jimmy is a great guy.
I know he wears sunglasses a lot and that kind of thing still, but it seems like he doesn't age. He looks exactly like he did in like 87.
Yeah, I'm just telling Kirk before we went on the air, he just struck up a deal with Sun Records that they went back and found about a dozen records because, he was part of the Gentrys, Keep On Dancing, and they found several songs that never made the charts, and now they've remastered them, and he'll be doing a nationwide tour. He's going to be on the Jimmy Fallon show, I think, on September the 11th, and for, like he says, for an old man, getting another shot at life is really important to him.
It's amazing he stays as active as he does still. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Oh, yeah, he does. Like I said, and he always wants to come in town early because he wants to do any radio advertisement or TV, and he's a promoter's best friend when it comes to that stuff of getting the word out there, and that's why we appreciate what you guys do here, because we're going to be coming to Herculaneum.
Yes, that is the reason why you're here. To talk about, you're going to have a couple of dates coming up where you're going to be at the AmVets Post 42 in Herculaneum for SICW Wrestling. Very cool.
Yeah, the fine folks, Tracy and Ray and them people there invited me down, and we had a meeting, and they've got a nice building there, a new building that they're wanting to continue the tradition of wrestling at the Chase, basically, and they reached out, and couple of our local guys at some of them, Dennis McCaw's, Attila Khan, one of the toughest in the business these days, still going. He's been with me for 30 plus years, and he's a local guy, and he'll be on the card that night. The King of Chaos, Ricky Cruz, who was a former, both of them have been former SICW champions, Jerry Morgan. So, what we're going to do is we're going to bring back the old style of professional wrestling, just like you heard Grandma and Grandpa and your parents talk about going to the Kiel Auditorium on a Friday night or rushing home from church on a Saturday or Sunday morning watching wrestling at the Chase. That's what we're going to be bringing them.
Very nice. Going to be a lot of fun. Who's the current champ of the SICW right now?
Right now, the current champ is a man named Bobby D. He's from Belleville, Illinois. In fact, he just won the title back a couple of weeks ago, and we do a fundraiser every year for what's called the Little Devils Football League in Belleville, Illinois, and Bobby was in a old St. Louis style Texas death match against a former champion, Strictly Business, Brandon Beretta. And in fact, if you go on YouTube on Sunday nights at 8 p.m., we have a local show, and you can see the replay of that on there. It was probably a match of the year.
Nice. Okay. What time does everything get started? It happens on September the 18th.
It's a Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the same way, keeping the tradition of wrestling. That's the night that they had available at the AmVets. So we said, we'll do it. We're adding in the old school flavor of wrestling at the Chase. So it used to be on Friday nights at Kiel Auditorium. So the doors will open at 6 p.m. and bell time will be at 7. And we'll kick it off with our national anthem, and any special guests that we have show up, because you never know. We always have somebody there. But we're really looking forward to it. Brian, we've got 6 or 7 big matches that's going to be coming up that night.
Absolutely.
Tag team match probably will be there. We like to bring a flavor of everything. So those matches are all being put together. But I know Attila Khan, and he's part of the group called Devastation Incorporated, which is an old group back from Skandar Akbar that, it's awesome to see family members come and boo the bad guys and, cheer for the good guys. And, I tell people it's a place you can go for a couple of hours, 2.5 hours, and just forget about everything going on in our crazy world. And now you have to come back to reality after it's over with, but then you're looking forward to the next show there,
And, It's going to be what tickets are available right now, and there are two ways they can do it. They can buy there.
They can buy them at the Ambets
or the
Post
website.
42, or you can get them at www.sicw.org online, and we're selling them online right now. In fact, the minute that link went hot, they started buying them. So I think the good fans of Herculaneum and around the area is ready for some old school wrestling.
I don't know exactly how it's set up over there for this. This is the first time for you guys to go over there?
Yes.
I'm not sure what the overall capacity is, how many fans they can hold and that kind of thing. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a small venue, but
Yeah.
and sometimes small is better when it comes to that because it's more close up and personal, and we like to encourage fans to bring their cameras. Everybody's got a camera now on their cell phone, and we want them to take pictures with their favorite wrestler. We let them come out at intermission time and socialize. If you go to these big shows, first of all, you got to go to the bank and mortgage the house and the kids, and then you go, and then you can't even get near the wrestlers, But we want it to be personal. We want it to be family, and that's what we do, family entertainment. So we're really excited. So, they're telling me we can put between 200 and 250 people in there.
Nice.
I think they got chairs for like 225.
Very nice. Okay.
So get your tickets early.
Now, this is what you're thinking is a test run in a way. See if this works, and then continue and keep coming back every couple of months. Is that kind of the idea?
Well, what we've done with them is, SICW is known for helping nonprofit organizations raise funds, and we have been doing that for 53 years. Police departments, fire departments, different organizations, nonprofit organizations. So we're really big on giving back. And so what we told them is that, we'll book 2 or 3 shows the rest of this year. And then they started talking to us about maybe next year we do once a month because you have a big area to draw from down here. And we'll be able to tell how the people react to it. Once we've signed it with them, booked it with them, now it's our job to get the people to come back. And we do that by giving them the best in professional wrestling.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah.
There are still a lot of independent, every town still has an independent wrestling organization for the most part. And obviously you still have to get seen in that kind of thing. How else are you going to get your opportunity to try to move up the ladder, try to make it to the big time, one of the big organizations? Do you have some guys that have that potential, you think?
We've had guys that's made it to the big time. Like I said, we had a hand in Randy Orton getting his shot before he went down to OVW. Dennis McCaws has been on the big stages. He's done work with the WWE, WCW. One of my other former champions, Ron Powers, did a lot of work with WCW. And what I like to say is these guys were the smart ones because they didn't give up their day job, because wrestling is a tough business to get the door opened up in, and then as quick as that door opens, it can close on you. And but we've had several guys. Gary Jackson, the Night Train, who will be with us in Herculaneum, is worked for WWE. He's on television against Kamala, the Ugandan Giant. He was on against Razor Ramon. So SICW, our locker room, has got years and years of experience. Dennis, Superstar Steve Fender, these were guys who were trained by Harley Race. And that doesn't come much better than that, other than Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., who does our training with our people. And you mentioned about everybody. There's a lot of independent promotions out there, and everybody's doing their own thing. And a lot of times that's what causes problems because there's an oversaturation. And if you don't have your people that are trained to know how to do the business, they come in and kill the town, and then you have to wait because you don't know what kind of mess they've left for you. And that's why we pride ourselves on old school. We want it to be like what you could remember back at Wrestling at the Chase. You look for every week to watch that on television. Of course, I go back and remember when it was on a Wednesday night. Before it was on Channel 11, it was on Channel 5 out of St. Louis. And then KPLR TV Channel 11 picked it up, and that's where it really got shot in the arm. Sam Muchnick and the owner of Channel 11, Mr. Koppler, made that deal. And And then we were fortunate enough a couple years ago to go back and do a show right there in that beautiful Coruscant room at the Chase Park Plaza Hotel, and gave you goosebumps standing there because, Dick the Bruiser, Luthez, Buddy Rogers, all the great names from the past performed at that Chase Park Plaza Hotel.
Yeah, that's one of the classic places for sure. South Broadway Athletic Club.
Historical South Broadway Athletic
yeah.
Club. Yeah, I used to, my late friend, semi-partner as we called it, the Little Dynamite Tony Costa, him and I worked there for over 40 years together. We had Larry Matisek would be a regular that I'd take over there. Mickey Garagiola, Harley race, we'd bring in there. Baron von Raschke. But South Broadway, it was always called Historical South Broadway Athletic Club because it had amateur boxing and wrestling going on in there at the same time. And it's been there for many, many years. And we lost Little Dynamite. He was my junior heavyweight champion for years, but he ran a great organization there. So it's one of the organizations that still give the fans what their money's worth, And now that's the thing, we keep it affordable, Tickets to get into Herculaneum is $20 for adults, $10 for children under 12. There's no place else. You try doing that at one of these big shows and see what you pay,
Oh, you're paying more than that just at Park.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's what we like. We want people to come back. We want them to put on their calendar, hey, we'll be back to the Herculaneum on October 23rd. So they make their plans, their social plans, and we guaranteed the organization that we'll bring the best in professional wrestlers. And we just need their help to get the word out. And that's what we're here doing this morning, wanting your listeners, the great audience that you have, to know that SICW is coming to Herculaneum at the AMVETS Post 42 on September the 18th.
Now, you have shows all over, and obviously, probably the majority of them are in Illinois, right?
Yeah, I've been licensed in the state of Missouri because Missouri is a state where you have to be licensed by the Missouri Athletic Board. Illinois, you don't. That's where everybody wants to be a promoter in Illinois. At one time, Illinois was the strictest in the country, and I was the only promoter that lived because one of the requirements was you had to be a resident of the state of Illinois. And but now it's wide open. And but yeah, most of our shows are in Illinois. In fact, September 12th and 13th will be at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, racing and wrestling. We've been doing that the last several years for Curtis Francois and Chris Blair and Mike Bielhorn, the whole crowd, Nettie and Allison and everybody at Worldwide Technology. If you haven't been there, I'm telling you that's a little city in its own. And we'll do a show each day there, and sometimes we do 2 shows on the same day for them. But we'll be there with the NASCAR big race, the Illinois 300 that's coming in. And then, in fact, September the 11th, we're at the new racetrack in Belleville, Illinois with them. There at the Belle Claire Speedway. So, but we stay busy. We'll do, what do you think, 30, 40 shows a year? Yeah, plus we do TV. We're on YouTube every Sunday night, SICW Championship Wrestling. We're on that, and then Intrigue Television out of St. Louis. Gives the guys a little bit more exposure, and that's what you do, and that's how you get it out there to the fans and let the fans decide who they want to go watch.
Yeah, when you got a platform that you can utilize nowadays, like YouTube and and other social media and stuff like that, it certainly helps. I mean, a ton for what you guys do.
Yeah, and we're real active on social media, especially Facebook. I mean, several years ago I couldn't say Facebook, and now I live on it, and I say I will until they start charging for it. But it's a way to get your product out there, build your viewing audience, listening audience, and like I said, I'm really excited about coming in here with you guys because, radio is nothing like turning on, listening to some good music and talking about wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about this all day long for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just, favorites of the past, favorites of right now, and so on and so forth. I mean, there's a lot of people to certainly enjoy and, and admire and that kind of thing. And
well, it's
a tough racket, it's a tough business for sure.
There's a lot of fans out there that don't want to admit that they're fans, and Sam Muchnick used to call them closet fans, and we'd be out eating dinner or lunch, and I can't tell you how many times somebody would stop at the table and say, "Hey, Sam, how you doing? And are you still doing that crazy wrestling stuff?" And Sam say, "Yeah, unfortunately, I gotta feed the family, And and they'd say, "How comes you can do that?" And they were trying to portray like, but then they'd say, "Does Bulldog Bob Brown still come out and cover his ears up when the crowd starts barking at him?" Yeah, he's got an ear problem. Well, when he walk away, Sam would say, "Closet fan," because how else would you know Bulldog Bob Brown was doing that? So, but again, wrestling has just been a great pastime. That them 4 words, wrestling at the Chase, has been a household name forever, and it will be. And I like to think what we're doing at SICW is the big factor in keeping that tradition alive. With starting at St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, I think we're over 70 inductees that we've had since. I think we started that in 2004 or 7, something like 2004.
I think I saw something about the ones you just recently inducted, the most recent class.
Yeah, we had the recent class, which was Andre the Giant, and they put me in there, which was another big debate I had until my wife spoke up and told me to shut up. The locker room said that I deserved being there. When Larry Matasek and I and our senior referee, Nick Rednauer, years ago came up with the idea of starting that, we wanted to keep it for those who meant something here in the St. Louis area. And so, the first class, we let the fans vote on who was going in, and that got to be a chore. A lot of wrestling fans with a lot of different opinions. And so, but I have all the records from anybody who's ever wrestled at St. Louis on 3x5 index cards that Larry Matasek and back before him, ring announcers Johnny Curley and people like that, ring announcers Eddie Gromacki kept track of. And they're all on those 3x5 index cards like the grandma had for homemade recipes. And so I through Sam had passed them down to Larry, and Larry passed them to me. And then I have the collection of the programs that they used to sell or send out at Kiel Auditorium. The oldest one I got there goes back to 1934. But that last class that we did for 2026 was Andre the Giant, Johnny Rodz, Spike Huber, who was the son-in-law to the late Dick DeBruzer, and then myself was in that class of 2026. But so we've been keeping that a long time, and we're actually now finding brick and mortar for it. It will be we have a portable one that we haul around and put it up when we get asked to. But it was originally started in South County Mall at Pro Wrestling T-shirt shop. It's where it originally started.
Oh, yeah.
And Nick Rednauer owned that, and then it ended up at South Broadway Athletic Club for many years. And then when things fell apart over there after Tony Acosta passed away, we moved it into a portable one that we can bring out and set up. But now it will be on display at the Belle Claire Expo Hall in Belleville, Illinois, where Larry Matasek was born and raised. And they've actually donated us a good space wall in there that it will be displayed in a shadow box. And then we've already announced people for we do a Fan Fest every year. This next year we are Fan Fest 5, and we've already got some people that's going in. Iceman King Parsons, if you remember him, great guy from St. Louis, Missouri, grew up in Florissant area, Hazelwood. Rufus R. Jones will be going in 2027. The Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant. And then Bobby Fulton, who was one half of the Fantastic, will be going in. Bobby is still with us. We go up to his show in Chillicothe, Ohio once a year and help him out. And then another favorite, Luke Williams, one half of the Bushwhackers, the Sheepherders. And then Lord Littlebrook, the midget who ran the midgets for many, many years with Tokyo, Little Cowboy Lang in Tokyo, and Karate Kid. Roger was from St. Joe, Missouri, and that's where most of those little guys came from. And so we were fortunate to have them. And then the both of the referee, the Hebner brothers, that was with WWF, the twins. They did the part of the Montreal screw job and all of that stuff.
Right, yeah, they were part of that. And, of course, part of getting the title off of Hulk Hogan. Which was a big deal at that time.
Oh, yeah.
As we all know. Of course, it was all done for him doing some extracurriculars and all that stuff. That's why they took the title off him anyway, because he was going to go do a movie and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's, the Rock. I remember sitting in Kiel Auditorium when Dwayne was young. His father did a lot of work for us, the Soul Man, Rocky Johnson.
Oh, yeah, Soul Man.
And so Larry Matasek's wife, Pat, had the chore of babysitting Dwayne, and I'd be sitting up in the audience with him, and now look at him. I mean, megastar, you know.
Who would have thought, right?
Who would have thought? I mean, it was wild. So you just never know what wrestling does and who you meet. And that's what I say all the time. You never know when you show up to a show. You may be sitting next to your family members, neighbors. Every walk of life comes, and that's why I said it's a family pastime. And I'm excited about coming to Herculaneum. I mean, I think it's. We used to run everything from the Boot Hills of Missouri all the way up to the Indiana border, 3-4 nights a week. Tony Costa from South Broadway and I did. And like I said, I slowed down on the Missouri side, but I get a lot of calls from people wanting SICW, so I still got a little bit more gas in the tank. And if not, my son is, and Brian, I'm trying to get Brian. He's actively involved with it now. He don't like to admit it, but he's learned a lot. He was a Bret Hart fan growing up. Yeah. And now he gets to meet Bret Hart this weekend in Las Vegas.
You never met him yet?
I've not met him.
Okay.
So, yeah, it'll be a good time to see him.
When him and his brother wrestled, he's got a twin brother, and your brother was Sean, or who was your brother?
Jason was always Bret Hart, and then I would do the Big Boss Man.
Yeah, Big Boss Man. So, but
Bret was one of my favorites, too. He was just so good in the ring. I mean, his movements, I mean, all that stuff was just fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, just his ring positioning and all that stuff was just excellent all the time. I mean,
oh, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm glad he got the push that he did, because I just remember watching him when he was with the Hart Foundation. I'm just like, he just moves so good.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, and he learned from the best, his father, Stu Hart. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Dungeon. A lot of workers out there to this day got their first start in that dungeon, and they used to say you'd pull up in the driveway, and if you didn't hear screaming coming out of the dungeon, somebody wasn't doing their job.
You were stretched.
They made you believe on what was going on, and Stu was an expert at doing that. Kind of like Harley Race, you know.
Right. Well, I tell you what, Herb, Brian, I'm going to step aside for just a little bit and get some ads played. We'll continue to talk a little bit, if that's all right.
Sure. Very good. Appreciate it.
Okay. More ahead as we'll continue our conversation here with Herb Simmons and Brian Whitaker with Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling again coming to Herculaneum in September. We'll talk more about that and other things perhaps in the wrestling world here on KJFF, the Newsmakers.
Hey everybody, What Were They Thinking is proud to be a part of the show with Herb Simmons at SICW.
Show some enthusiasm, Joe. Put on a damn bow tie. We got Herb Simmons. We got the Kill Arena. We got St. Louis, where Mr. Briscoe is in the Hall of Fame. What Were They Thinking? It's available on Backstage Pass. Sports Ketas, our buddies. We talk about the wildest, the craziest, the dumbest, the insane moments in wrestling history that I'm proud to be a part of because, Mr. Briscoe, you're the one that hired me.
And I don't know what I was thinking when I did that, John.
That's not nice. Not nice at all. We love Herb Simmons. And Herb Simmons, you have been there forever. Mr. Briscoe thinks you might be 1,000. I don't think you're a day over 900. We love St. Louis. What were they thinking, Backstage Pass?
SICW welcomes our newest sponsor, Total Roofing. For all your roofing needs, call Total Roofing, 618-719-6767. That's Total Roofing.
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
All right, we are back talking more with Herb Simmons and Brian Whitaker. SICW Wrestling coming to Herculaneum on September the 18th at the MVets Post 42, a venue that's only a couple of years old, as a matter of fact. I'm sure this will be the first time they've had something like this held there, I'm sure.
No, they've had a couple other ones, and I think that's why we got invited down here. They wanted to see the difference between the modern day stuff and then the old style that we do. And like I said, I met with them and Tracy and a few of the other members of their board, and they were excited about what we've done and what I was able to bring to the table farm. 53 years of experience, and not bragging, but that's a long time. They say I'm the longest running promoter in the country, but I don't know that to be a fact. That's just what people tell me. And I tell them it just makes me old. But again, I'm looking forward to it. Anytime we go into an area to help them out, you always want to bring your best forward. And of course, as I tell everybody, we have the best. I mean, I got guys, as I said earlier, trained by Harley Race, trained by Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. You know, and then I bring these legends in, the Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, people like that. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Hopefully this will take off here in Herculaneum, and then, you know, we can bring Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. down here, or some of the legends that are still with us, because we're losing them at a fast rate here. We just lost one of the all-time greats, Dory Funk Jr., who had done a lot of work for us over the years. And in fact, he was with us last year at our Fan Fest, and he told me then that would be his last trip to St. Louis, and you talk about a vision, he had it. So, but the Funks and the Briscoes were big names anywhere they went. But in St. Louis, that was some of the best feuds they ever had. Jerry and Jack Briscoe, and Dory and Terry Funk. Terry done a lot of work for us. I had him down at Cape Girardeau, Missouri, at the A.C. Bracey Arena with Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. And so that's why I said we try to bring the guys that are still with us. Give them something to do, because, you know, once you got this in your blood, you don't get rid of it that easy.
All right, I agree. And I know a lot of these guys go to a lot, you know, they gather a lot around WrestleMania, where you got a lot of the Legends panels, you know, are out there doing their autographs and pictures and stuff like that. And it's really cool to see some of those guys. It's not really WWE sanctioned, but there's a lot of conventions that come along with it that bring in the big names of the past. And they seem to always enjoy that.
And that's why we started the SICW Fan Fest. Next year, it's booked already, Fan Fest 5, because St. Louis had never had one like that. And people, because St. Louis used to be the hub of professional wrestling under Sam Muchnick. I mean, people like Ric Flair, Ted DiBiase always said, and Dory Funk, if you didn't make it to St. Louis, you never made it big in the wrestling business. Because where else could you go and wrestle at the beautiful Coruscant Ballroom at the Chase Park Plaza, where kings and queens and movie stars and all your favorites performed at? Yeah. And, you know, you go in there and ladies dressed in their evening gowns and pearl necklaces, the guys in their tuxedos. And then here's a wrestling ring and smoke-filled room, gentlemen smoking their stogies. And you know, we do a show every year over at the Missouri Athletic Club. We'll be there in October, I think it is. October 3rd or 4th, maybe.
Yeah, the Missouri Athletic Club.
Missouri Athletic Club. Yeah, Missouri Athletic Club. And it takes you back to those days. They have the tablecloths on the table, and the gentlemen are dressed up, and the ladies, and it takes you back to those days with the chandeliers hanging over the ring, and so that's what we are, is wrestling at the Chase, is SICW.
Who do you like watching today? Who do you think are some of the most impressive guys that you see in the ring and on television right now?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've said it several times this morning. I'm old school. And I tell Bob Orton all the time, if somebody threatened my life, if I could name 5 of the top talent guys that are out there today, I'm dead. I just have not been able to get into the modern day wrestling. And I'm telling you, the talent that's out there now is tremendous. I don't take nothing away from them, but it's just that give me an old disc or a VHS of a Harley Race against Ric Flair, or a Bruiser Brody against Dory Funk Jr., or a Crusher Blackwell against Dirty Dick Murdoch. I can sit there and watch it over and over. But, you know, Randy Orton is my guy. So when Bob tells me, hey, they're shooting an angle with Randy, I'll tune into that. My son, Jason, keeps me informed. He stays up on him and his, my lovely daughter-in-law, stays up on the modern stuff. So I still have a connection to it. Haku, you know, in fact, when Haku just made his return, my phone burned up over that, because Haku's been a big fan of SICW. In fact, I told him for a while
he's made appearances with you.
I was going to get him up here and get him registered to vote, because he's here so much, you know. But a great guy, so I'm happy for him, his family, his sons, you know. But Roman Reigns is out there, and I know a lot of the young guys stay up with it. A couple of podcasts I get invited on, and I kind of feel out of place because they're all talking about, oh, did you watch Monday Night Raw and Tuesday night this and what? Well, no, I watched SICW on Sunday night on YouTube, but again, no, if it's Randy's involved in it, I'll tune in.
Sure. Is it pretty much true what they said about Haku? He was like the toughest guy in the room, and he would be the guy that if you were going to go to war and a bunch of guys were going to jump you, you wanted him as the guy with you. That's what I always heard.
Unequivocally
Yeah.
true. I've seen action. Just a couple years ago out in Las Vegas, a gentleman tried to push the envelope too far, and we were sitting at a table, and you were there, Brian, and a guy walked up and kissed Haku on the top of the head. And I'm thinking, and Dennis was there, Dennis McCaws. And I was sitting between Dennis and Ron Powers and my other two of my best friends in the business, former champions for SICW. And we looked at one another and said, holy crap, this is not going to, but no, anybody you talk to in this business will tell you that if you go into a fight, you want Haku on your side. Or if you're in a foxhole, you want him in there with you.
Foxhole guy, that's what a lot of people called him, without a doubt.
Yeah, without it. And nice,
but the nicest guy in the world. Yeah, that's what I heard.
Nicest guy. We had him in. He did a program with us that lasted about 8 months, and so we had him in quite a bit. And it ended up in a big cage match, and him and the Barbarian, and so that's what we do. We tell storylines. We keep you interested. We want you to, when that show goes off, we want you to go, man, we can't wait for the next one. And so when you've got talent like that comes in and helps you, and that's what I said. I've been just fortunate enough to build on the foundation that these gentlemen have built many years ago, and they allow us to continue to carry that on and honor them because you've seen how it's changed over the years. We were talking about that off air, that it has changed so drastically. And even some of the legends, as I call them now out there, will tell you that, the way it was back in the day is totally different than it is now. Even though I tell the younger guys that send me in videos or send me in photographs, wrestling itself has not changed. A headlock is a headlock, an arm drag is an arm drag. It's an ego that causes the problems nowadays, and that's what this younger generation has got to learn. Leave that ego at the door, because you're here for one thing and one thing only, and that's to entertain the fans, and leave your personal lives, because you'll come back to that reality, like I said. But for that time that you're in that ring, your job is to make sure those fans are believing, and I got guys that do that every night that they're in the ring.
Yeah, how that business has changed over the years. Like you said earlier, guys were on the road 300 days, 300 dates a year, and that kind of thing, and driving from town to town, and those days are not like that anymore, at least in the big time.
Yeah,
so they've drastically dulled the schedule down quite a bit, and I think it's probably helped in terms of everybody's psyche and just their well-being and so on.
Oh yeah, well, and like we said, back in the day it was rough. That's why we lost a lot of our guys that are out there at a young age.
Yes,
a lot of divorces because of living out of a car, living out of a suitcase. Having to pull your money together to rent a hotel room and 3, 4, 5 guys sharing one room. And then driving 200, 300, 400 miles to get to the next town and be there on time. And it was a tough road, and that's why I'm so honored to be part of the Cauliflower Alley Club. I just got to recently put on the executive board there because it's an organization that helps these men and women who have fallen on hard times. If they have medical issues, they need help with a medical bill, or they've fallen behind maybe in a car payment or rent. The Cauliflower Alley Club is there, and we're celebrating our 60th year reunion of doing that. And so to be around that long and help the amount of people that we have it's really close to SICW. And I tell every wrestler that's out there, I don't care if you're on the big stage or on the stages the size that we are. When you're licensed in these states, it doesn't say you're a part-time wrestler. It says you're a professional wrestler. And if you're not a member of the Cauliflower Alley Club, it's like a supplemental insurance policy. So for about, what is it, about $50 now?
$37.
$37 a year to be a member of something that, and you don't have to be a wrestler or a ring crew. You can be a fan and join. But the people who benefit from your support are the men and women who's got in there and busted their behinds and took the bumps and the bruises and fall on those hard times. So I tell everybody, if you've enjoyed professional wrestling, you need to be a member of Cauliflower Alley to help pay these guys back who gave us so much entertainment. But then I tell the wrestlers, you're going to fall on hard times unless you're a small percentage of the people who won't. So that $37 a year, or you can become a lifetime member for like $300 or so. So it's really reasonable. And then they have this convention, and we'll be out there for 4 days. And like I said, Ric Flair is going to be there, Bret Hart, Jimmy Hart, Tony Atlas, and you never know who you're going to be sitting next to at the banquet. One year we were sitting there with CM Punk and Rey Mysterio, Cactus Jack, Mankind, who we just had at our Fan Fest for, and then he'll be with us at the Missouri Athletic Club for their private show this year. So Mick Foley is a great guy, loves to give back also, and there's a guy that took some bumps and bruises, I'll tell you.
No question about it. Yeah, falling through a cage and thrown off a cage.
Getting your tooth run up through your upper lip,
Iconic.
Oh,
Without a doubt. You'll never forget it.
Well, we had him at FanFest 4, him and the Barbara Goodish, the wife of the late and great Bruiser Brody. They did our Friday night opening segments, and he does his comedy routine and question and answers. And then Barbara, they got up there because Mick was a big fan of Bruiser Brody, and Bruiser Brody enjoyed Mick, so they had a lot in common, but the crowd was just intensified with the stories that he tells. And, of course, we had over 60 legends involved in FanFest 4, so he got to play off all of them in the room, too. So it really worked out good. And next year, May 14th and 15th at FanFest 5, Bob Orton's son, Nathan Orton, who is a comedian up in New York, he'll be there doing our Friday night show. So we're really looking forward to having Nate there. When we inducted Bob Orton 2 years ago into the Hall of Fame, Randy Orton actually came and got in the ring and did the induction. And I had promoters around the country calling and saying, man, how did you get Randy Orton to come in and get in your ring? And so it's pretty easy when you're inducting his dad into the Hall of Fame,
No brainer, right.
No brainer. No, Randy's great. And so, and I wouldn't expect him to do anything less,
He still looks good and everything. He still passes the look test without a doubt. And I know his back is a little bit beat up, and he can only go for so long, and then has to take some time off again. But
great guy, great family man, and his dad is awesome. His mom, Elaine, the family. He like I said, he went from the legend killer to the legend.
He's one of the few left, really, especially from that
era,
that particular era. Yeah, I mean, the guys from the Attitude Era are pretty much all done now.
Yeah.
But those guys from the next step, what they call, what is it, the Ruthless Aggression era? I mean, those guys are all stepping away now, too. Cena just retired. Randy's still there. Brock Lesnar's pretty much said he's about done now. So, I mean, he said he retired before, but, but I think he's for real now.
As I said, it's not too many of them when you're in this business you ever retire fully. And look at Ric Flair, he says, I'm going to die in the ring. And, Jerry the King Lawler, practically did. And, and is going through some health issues. And send some well wishes out to him. Him and Jimmy Hart are the best of friends. And so, but they just named a street down in Memphis on him just this week for Jerry because he was wrestling in Memphis area forever.
No doubt, yeah.
Great guy.
And again, that goes to that, the territory era and all that stuff. I mean, he was the guy down there.
Well, and that's what we're doing at SICW. I've got 3 or 4 other local promotions throughout Missouri and Illinois that we work with. Because, the territories as we knew them will never come back to be what they were. But on the smaller scale that we do, Jason Jones, the Space Cowboy down at Mid-States Championship Wrestling, we work real close with Jason. He'll be in Vegas with us. He's got a big show in Springfield, Missouri at the Moss, where he's got the Godfather and Jimmy Hart and somebody else coming in there. But ACW, the Searcher here in Missouri, we've worked with them. IEW over in Illinois. I'm select who I work with because I want to be involved with those who have the same outlook and mentality as we do as old school wrestling.
Right.
I don't want to get into the hardcore stuff because Sam Muchnick, someday I hope to see him again, and I don't want to have to say, I did it because of this, because he would turn over in his grave if I did anything like that. So I'm gonna do what he asked that I continue on doing, and that's old school wrestling.
I watched that documentary the other day. They do Dark Side of the Ring on Vice TV, and they did the spotlight of that real crazy death match that they had between Samoa Joe and what was the other guy?
I didn't see that one.
Independent guy. He's just always involved in stuff that just makes you bleed and bleed. I can't remember his name, but anyway, but Samoa Joe wrestled him, and it was just tough to watch.
It is. It's really tough to watch.
Right.
In fact, I've been at. I don't go to shows unless I get invited, and I've been to a couple when I've got there, and they've done stuff like that, and I've seen fans get up and excuse herself, and then say, hey,
it's a lot.
There's a time and a place, and it's got to mean something. And I'm not saying that our matches don't get wild, because they do.
Some of them, sure.
Yeah, they get. Wrestling at the Chase, they got wild on TV when Bruiser Brody would be there, or Dick the Bruiser against Ric Flair, and they throw him into Larry Matysek and Mickey Garagiola's table and hit him with the ring bell, and so. But the fans love that. But that real hardcore stuff, the light bulbs, and to me, that's not wrestling, and that's my opinion. Nothing against the guys that are out there doing it, because somebody will say they're listening to, and Herb Simmons said he didn't like that. Well, no, I don't like it, and that's my choice. But I appreciate what they do.
Necro Butcher.
Yes.
That's who it was.
Yes.
That had that match with Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
That's an interesting documentary series.
Yeah, they've had quite a few of those on there, and some of them are okay. Some of them are. It's a story. It's what can sensationalize it sometimes.
I like the bios of the programs of the. The different wrestlers, that have come along and things like that. WWE does their own. You really wonder sometimes if it's really truthful or not, or just built up for ratings and all that.
And that's what I liked about Larry Matasek's books that he wrote. The first one on wrestling at the Chase told the story. And I was fortunate to get to proofread it before it even got to the publisher. And his wife, being an English teacher for 40 years, got to do all the punctuations and everything right for him. But his books were true to point, and him and Barbara Goodish did the book on Bruiser Brody from the perspective of the Frank Goodish, the husband, the father, and then part of wrestling that Larry knew. And then I had the good luck of working with Ed Wheatley, the author who wrote the second book on wrestling at the Chase, Head Over Heels, and then the documentary that we did through PBS Channel 9 that got nominated. It told the story, and SICW was a big part of that, and so we're keeping that tradition alive.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be doing in Herculaneum on September the 18th.
Yeah, let's run through that again before we let you go again. On the 18th of September at the AmVets Post 42, Herculaneum SICW Wrestling will be coming there, and you'll have, six, seven matches that night?
Yeah, we maybe a bonus match. Like I said, it all depends. Some of these guys travel in from a distance, so sometimes they bring a friend with them or something, but we always will give them at least 6, 7 great matches, a couple intermissions, so the concession stand will do good, and they're going to have the simple, the hot dogs, nachos, and I gave them my suggestions. Some of these organizations go overboard, and they want to have a full course meal, and that's not at a wrestling show. Popcorn, hot dogs, candy bars, some good cold beverages of your choice. And make it simple and let everybody have a great time for 2.5 hours. And they'll want us back there come October.
And of course, you'll have the local flavor there as well.
Oh, man.
Denny McCaw's.
I mean, Dennis McCaw's Telecon will be in prime form, I can assure you. The King of Chaos, Ricky Cruz, who is those two, I think, last time they were anywhere in the area, had a Donnybrook, as Larry Matisek used to call it. But and then Jerry Morgan, another local guy from right up the road. People like the Big Texan, who we call him the sheriff of SICW. The Night Train, Gary Jackson's been with me for 40 years. Still gets out there and goes with the best of them. Bobby D, our classic champion, our classic title is a belt that has all of those legends that's inducted into the St. Louis Hall of Fame listed on it. So it's a quite impressive belt. The fans love getting pictures with it. And we'll have a great lineup, and we want to raise the AMVETS Post 42 some money, and mainly we want the great fans and your listening audience to come out and experience what old school wrestling was all about.
Starts at 7 that night. Doors open at like 6.
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Very
And
nice.
like I said, we'll get them in there, and Brian will probably be at the front door.
I will be there.
Yeah, you'll be there greeting everybody, smiling, and I usually try to do the same thing. I believe in welcoming the people and then standing at the door when they're leaving and thanking them.
Get your tickets either at the AMVETS Post or online, SICW.org.
Yes, sir. That's the best way.
Herb, thank you so much. Brian, thank you.
Thank you. We could sit here and do this all day.
Absolutely, we could.
And I want to thank you guys, you, Kurt, and everybody for having us in, and hopefully you can make the show.
Again, that's Herb Simmons and Brian Whitaker with SICW Wrestling joining us here this morning, 1400 KJFF. Mark the calendars, folks. Friday night, September 18th. Wrestling coming to the AMVETS Post 42 in Herculaneum. They're joining us here for the Newsmakers on KJF.
Wrestling fans, what a great interview with promoter Herb Simmons and KJFF Radio out of Herculaneum. Join us when we return Friday, September 18th to the AMVETS Post 42 Hall in Herculaneum. Before we wrap up tonight, as always, Big Nasty has booked a little time here on SICW All-Star Wrestling. So until next week at 8 o'clock, we'll leave you tonight to hear what Big Nasty has to say.
Let's run it back. Let's jog our memories. The Little Devil Show happens, and I beat Sean Vincent clean in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Well, and that means that he's the last one on the list of all of your heroes that I had to beat. I took him out. But once he got his bearings about him after I knocked him out with the strongest punch in the entire world, it's not even close, he grabbed the microphone and he was begging, Herb Simmons, give us a tag team title shot. Please. Please. And I figured, I've been asking for a rematch, and last week Herb said, well, I don't get to call my shots. So I assume that he's going to give Sean what he wants, because that's Herb's MO. That's what he does. He gives everybody else what they want, but the guy that's earned it, I don't get what I want. I have to jump through hoop after hoop after hoop to get what I deserve. So I'll go ahead and just throw it down now. I don't care if it's Sean and Jason. I don't care if it's Chris and Billy, since they're best friends now and apparently the best new tag team around. I don't care if it's any of those new guys that came in. Ricky and Chris can come on together and try to take these time. I don't care who it is. But the next time we wrestle is at the racetrack. So why don't we do this? We got 2 shows. How about one day I go for my Central States Championship rematch that I deserve, and how about another day we throw it down for the tag team titles? Let's do it. Let's do it. I don't care. Nobody's better than me. I'm the face of this company. The racetrack didn't happen until I came around. All the big shows didn't happen until I came around. FanFest happened because of me. FanFest was successful because of me. 12 million views just in the last 6 months. I'm the most viral guy that's ever came through here. It's not even close. The most viral ever. Brought more eyes to SICW than anybody ever has. I've beaten everybody you've laid in front of me. I need someone to try to come take it from me. Somebody please step up and do something. I'm so good. I don't know where the competition is. At this point, I feel like we should be facing the Hardys. I feel like we should be facing some national tag teams. And I got to sit around and listen to Sean, who I just knocked out, saying, oh, give me a title shot. Come on and get it. Come get it. I put a song out about you, Sean. I'm better than you, and everybody knows it. It's not even close, dude. So let's do that, Herb. You want to make announcements for everybody else? Huh? Not me. You want to give everybody else what they want but me? Well, then here, I'll walk it right to you. Sean, the tag match, see? I'll tag you in. Go ahead and put me and Tony Flood, the best tag team that's ever lived, against any two you can find. I don't care. Line them up and we'll knock them down. Don't forget who runs this place. It's me. I'm the creator of chaos. I'm the moment maker, the risk taker. I'm mentally sick. I'm physically thick. My name is Big Nasty. And everywhere I go, I'm the star of the show. And on my birthday weekend, we're going to go into the racetrack, NHRA. It's going to be high octane action all weekend long. I'm going to walk in. I'm going to beat whatever two idiots you put in front of us. And then, maybe you'll thank me. And then, maybe I'll get my post. And then, maybe I'll get what I deserve. This is exhausting. Every week, I lay it out and I tell you exactly how it is. And every week, I got to jump through a new hoop. And every week, I got to beg for the respect. It's cool. I'll beat it out of them. Send me your best. Give me Chris and Billy or give me Sean and Jason. I don't care. I'll kick their four asses at the same damn time. And we're going to do it September 12th or September 13th or both days. You tell me which one. I'm ready for it all. There's nobody who can touch me. There's nobody who can hang with my stuff. I'm the greatest wrestler to ever come through SICW, period. What's it going to be, Herb? You tell me.